Every day you wait, your dreams wait too. You tell yourself you'll start when life feels easier, when motivation strikes, when you have more time. But deep down, you know that moment never comes. The future you're hoping for isn't waiting ahead of you. It's waiting inside you, right now. Time doesn't slow down for anyone. It slips quietly through the cracks of hesitation, through the hours spent scrolling, worrying and doubting. But those same hours could be building your new life, if only you took control. You don't need another plan. You don't need another someday. What you need is the courage to start, to stop wasting your potential on waiting. Because the truth is, your life won't change when the clock strikes midnight or when the stars align. It changes the moment you decide to act. This audiobook isn't about dreaming of the future. It's about claiming it. Not tomorrow, not next week. Today, right now. Chapter 1. The Price of Waiting. You think waiting is harmless, that it's patience, planning, preparation. But waiting is silent decay. Every hour you postpone your dream, your energy weakens, your belief fades, and your courage erodes. The mind tricks you into thinking you have more time, but time doesn't negotiate. Every "I'll start tomorrow" is a deal you make with regret. The price of waiting is invisible now, but when it arrives, it's brutal. You wait for clarity, for motivation, for a sign. But life doesn't reward hesitation. It rewards motion. You'll never think your way into readiness. You'll only act your way into it. Waiting for confidence is like waiting to get stronger before you lift weights. The strength only comes after you move. The clock is running, and the future isn't patient. Every day you delay, your potential expires a little. Momentum dies quietly when you don't use it. Discipline rusts. Energy dulls. You don't lose your dream all at once. You lose it in tiny daily hesitations. That's the tragedy of waiting. It kills slowly enough that you don't notice until it's too late. The world won't pause while you prepare. It keeps moving. Opportunities vanish. People evolve. Doors close. Waiting feels safe, but it's an illusion. It's actually the most dangerous thing you can do. Because while you're standing still, life is moving past you. The longer you wait, the more behind you become. The price of waiting is heavy because it charges interest. Every day you hesitate adds more regret, more fear, more pressure. You start to believe it's too late, that you've missed your chance. Not because time ran out, but because you kept giving it away. The future belongs to those who move, not those who plan forever. You think you're saving yourself from failure by waiting, but waiting is failure, disguised as caution. Action brings mistakes, yes, but mistakes bring learning. Waiting brings nothing but wasted energy. Fear tells you that inaction is safe, but it's a slow suicide of potential. You've spent years planning, talking, imagining, but not doing. You've become fluent in almost ready, almost started, almost there. But almost never built a legacy. Dreams don't die because they're impossible. They die because they're postponed. Every second you delay, someone else moves. Someone hungrier, bolder, less perfect, but more willing. The world doesn't reward potential. It rewards execution. You can be smarter, more talented, more prepared, but none of it matters if you keep waiting for perfect conditions. The moment you say later, you plant a seed of regret. It grows quietly, rooted in comfort, watered by excuses. One day, you'll look back and realize that waiting wasn't rest. It was rot. You were capable all along, but you traded your future for convenience. Waiting has a subtle cost. It rewires your identity. You stop seeing yourself as a doer. You start seeing yourself as a dreamer who never finishes. The habit of hesitation becomes your personality. You're not born lazy. You're trained by waiting. You believe you're waiting for the right mindset, but the right mindset is built through momentum. Confidence grows from completion. Power grows from movement. Waiting for the right time is like standing at a locked door when the key was always in your pocket. Time is the most expensive currency you own. You can recover money, opportunities, even relationships, but not hours. Every minute spent waiting is gone forever. The ones who rise understand this. Time doesn't wait for clarity, and neither should you. The price of waiting isn't just lost opportunity, it's lost identity. You forget what it feels like to believe in yourself. You lose trust in your own promises. Every delay tells your subconscious, "My goals don't matter." Eventually, your mind starts to believe it. You think small actions don't matter, so you wait for big moments. But life changes in the small ones. The decision to start, the courage to show up, the consistency to stay. Waiting for a grand opportunity blinds you to the power of ordinary beginnings. The cost of waiting is emotional erosion. Every time you say, "not yet," your inner fire dims. The passion you once had turns into anxiety, because deep down you know you're betraying yourself. Waiting doesn't preserve your energy, it drains it quietly through guilt. There is no someday, there's only now or never. The future isn't waiting for you to be ready, it's waiting for you to be responsible. Waiting gives your fear power, but acting gives your courage oxygen. The cure for hesitation isn't confidence, it's movement. You'll convince yourself that waiting is wisdom, that you're being smart, strategic, patient. But strategy without execution is daydreaming. Patience without progress is stagnation. The wise don't wait for opportunity. They create it by showing up before they feel ready. You say time heals everything, but time also hides everything. It hides your excuses, your missed chances, your wasted energy. Time doesn't heal what you refuse to face. Waiting doesn't fix your fears. It feeds them. The truth is, you're not waiting for the right moment. You're waiting for permission. You want life to tell you it's okay to begin. But life doesn't send invitations. It sends opportunities disguised as challenges. Start without approval. Act without applause. The price of waiting is this. You'll wake up one day realizing your potential has become nostalgia, that you traded possibility for hesitation, that the life you dreamed of didn't disappear, it expired. Don't let time teach you what urgency could have taught you today. Start now. Chapter 2. The moment you decide. There's a single moment that changes everything. Not a day, not a year, but one heartbeat of clarity when you finally decide. It's not loud. It doesn't come with lightning or applause. It happens quietly, in the privacy of your own mind, when you look at your reflection and whisper, "Enough." That's when life bends. That's when destiny shifts. The decision to begin is never comfortable. It arrives covered in fear, doubt, and excuses. But beneath that noise lies a whisper of truth. You already know what to do. You've always known. The question isn't what, it's when. And the answer has been the same every time. Now. You think transformation is gradual, but it starts in an instant, in the second you stop tolerating mediocrity. The human spirit doesn't change through time, it changes through decision. Time only multiplies the power of what you choose. A single yes can rearrange an entire life. Most people never reach that moment because they wait for certainty. They want assurance before they commit. But life never gives guarantees. It only gives chances. And chances have expiration dates. The moment you decide, uncertainty doesn't disappear. It simply loses its authority over you. The decision to take control isn't dramatic. It's quiet rebellion. It's the day you stop explaining your hesitation and start acting through it. You stop needing motivation. You stop needing perfect timing. You choose movement, not mood. You choose creation over contemplation. When you decide, you become dangerous, not because you're reckless, but because you're free. Fear loses its leverage. Doubt loses its oxygen. People who haven't decided yet will feel your conviction before you even speak. Decision has energy. It radiates certainty even before results appear. There's power in finality, in saying, "I'm done waiting." That sentence alone reshapes your psychology. You stop flirting with potential and start marrying commitment. Decision converts maybe into momentum. The moment you decide, you shift from wishing to working. Deciding doesn't remove fear, it redirects it. You stop fearing failure and start fearing regret. You stop asking, "What if I fail?" and start asking, "What if I never try?" That's the emotional pivot that rewires your life. The brave don't eliminate fear. They decide that fear won't decide for them. You'll feel resistance the moment you commit. That's normal. Resistance is the universe's way of asking, "Are you serious?" Every obstacle after decision is a test of sincerity. If you pass, the path clears. If you hesitate, it resets. Life rewards decisiveness with acceleration. Your decision must be ruthless. Half decisions create half results. You can't step forward while keeping one foot in the past. The universe doesn't respond to indecision. You either command your future or surrender it. Choosing halfway is the same as not choosing at all. Once you decide, excuses sound foreign. You hear them, but they no longer land. The same distractions that once derailed you now feel irrelevant. Decision rewires attention. It filters out noise and amplifies focus. Suddenly, the path that felt impossible looks obvious. The moment you decide, the world responds. Opportunities you never noticed start appearing. Not because they weren't there, but because you weren't tuned to see them. Decision changes perception. You start recognizing doors that were always open, waiting for you to walk through. Indecision drains energy. Every maybe consumes willpower, but decision fuels it. You'll find yourself doing more with less fatigue because your energy is no longer split between doubt and desire. That's the secret to momentum, clarity without compromise. Deciding is hard because it kills fantasy. Once you commit, dreaming stops being enough. Decision demands effort, exposure, accountability. That's why many prefer potential. It's safer than progress, but potential without action is wasted power. You'll know you've truly decided when you stop negotiating with yourself. The debate is over. You no longer ask, "Should I?" You start saying, "I will." That language shift is evolution. Self-talk changes before circumstances do. The moment you decide, identity begins to rewrite itself. You stop being the person who talks about change and become the one who lives it. You start respecting yourself differently. Self-trust grows because you've proven you can follow through. Every great transformation begins in solitude. Decisions aren't made in noise, they're born in stillness. You'll feel it in your chest before it reaches your lips. The decision to rise isn't something you announce, it's something you embody. The moment you decide, the past loses its power. You stop replaying old failures because you're too busy creating new victories. Decision pulls your focus forward. You start moving toward possibility instead of running from pain. You'll realize that the hardest part of starting was never the action, it was the decision. Once the mind commits, the body follows. The war isn't with the world, it's with hesitation. Defeat hesitation once, and you can defeat anything. Decision is a spiritual act. It's faith in motion. You're telling the universe, "I'm ready to participate in my own becoming." Life doesn't open until you move first. Every miracle begins with a human who decided not to wait. Your decision will scare people who still doubt themselves. They'll project fear, call you unrealistic, try to anchor you back to comfort. Don't argue, just keep moving. The results will silence them faster than any explanation. Every decision demands a death, the death of an old habit, an old identity, an old story. That's why it hurts. You're burying parts of yourself that once protected you. But in their place grows power, precision, and peace. The beauty of decision is that it doesn't need permission. You don't need a green light. You are the green light. You set your own timeline now. Waiting for validation was the old version of you, the one that mistook approval for direction. When you decide, perfectionism dies. You stop obsessing over flawless execution. You understand that messy progress beats elegant procrastination. You're no longer a critic of your potential, you're the builder of it. Decision builds resilience faster than success ever could, because once you commit, you'll fall, fail, and fumble, but you'll get up faster each time. Failure stops being fatal, it becomes feedback. That's how momentum hardens into mastery. You'll start feeling time differently after deciding. Every hour matters. Every distraction feels expensive. The weight of wasted moments becomes heavier because you now understand their cost. Decision teaches value, not of money, but of minutes. Once you decide, clarity doesn't come from knowing, it comes from doing. Every step reveals the next. Waiting for a perfect plan was a myth. The plan builds itself in motion. Movement replaces overthinking with evidence. You'll find peace in commitment. You stop chasing 10 paths and master one. That focus feels freeing. You no longer scatter your strength across endless what-ifs. The decision to choose is also the decision to simplify. The moment you decide, fear loses permanence. It still visits, but it no longer lives inside you. You see it for what it is. A passing emotion, not a prophecy. Courage doesn't replace fear, it walks beside it. You'll notice your environment shifts after deciding. People who match your new frequency appear. Old distractions fade, life rearranges itself to match your intention. The universe always supports clarity. Decision activates self-respect. Every time you follow through, you reinforce trust in your own word. Confidence stops being external validation and becomes internal evidence. You no longer need to convince yourself. You've already proven yourself. Once you decide, momentum becomes your ally. The first few steps are hard, but soon the rhythm takes over. Action becomes instinct. Each small victory fuels the next. You start living in acceleration instead of hesitation. The moment you decide, comparison dies. You stop measuring your path against others. You understand that your timing, your pain, and your progress are unique. You're not behind, you're finally aligned. Decisions are sacred contracts with your future. Every time you keep one, you bring that future closer. The ones who build extraordinary lives aren't lucky. They're loyal to their decisions. They treat them like vows. You'll fall again, even after deciding. That's part of the process. But the difference is, you won't stay down. Decision gives you gravity toward growth. You rise faster, think sharper, move stronger. Each failure refines your foundation. The world opens for the decisive. Once you commit, coincidences begin to multiply. You'll call it luck, but it's alignment. Life rewards the brave by amplifying opportunity. The moment you decide, momentum meets you halfway. And when you look back, you'll realize your entire life changed, not because of chance or timing, but because of that single quiet moment when you finally chose yourself. That was the beginning of everything. The moment you decided, the future decided to follow. Chapter 3. Break the cycle of excuses. Excuses are elegant lies we tell ourselves to feel safe while staying small. They sound logical, protective, even intelligent, but they're cages disguised as comfort. Every "I can't" hides an "I won't." Every "later" hides a "never." Excuses don't protect you, they paralyze you. They're the invisible chains that keep potential locked behind fear. The mind is brilliant at storytelling. It can turn hesitation into strategy, fear into caution, and laziness into self-care. You justify inaction so convincingly that you start believing your own lies. That's the tragedy. Not that you failed, but that you stopped being honest about why. Every excuse is rooted in fear, fear of rejection, of failure, of being seen. You call it timing or preparation, but it's avoidance in disguise. The moment you name the fear behind the excuse, you strip it of power. Honesty doesn't just reveal truth, it rebuilds strength. You've become fluent in the language of limitation. I'm tired. I don't know how. It's not the right time. The words sound harmless, but they build habits. Excuses, repeated daily, harden into identity. The more you use them, the more believable they become. That's how potential dies quietly, one justification at a time. Excuses are expensive. They cost you your future. Every time you use one, you pay in lost confidence, lost opportunity, and lost time. You're not just avoiding work, you're buying regret. And the interest rate on regret is brutal. It compounds every year you keep saying, someday. The cycle of excuses always begins with self-pity. You convince yourself that your circumstances are special, that you're the exception to the rule. But hardship isn't unique, it's universal. The difference between those who rise and those who remain stuck isn't circumstance, it's accountability. You tell yourself you're waiting for the right time, but the truth is, you're waiting for comfort. You want to feel ready before you start, certain before you leap. But comfort is the coffin of growth. The right time never arrives, only your decision does. Excuses feel comforting because they give control back to fear. They allow you to say, I could have, but. That but is poison. It creates the illusion of potential without the pain of pursuit. It lets you stay the hero of a story you never finish. Your excuses are habits passed down from your old self, the one who valued safety over strength. But you can't build a new life with the same tools that built your cage. Breaking the cycle means confronting yourself, your laziness, your pride, your fear. The confrontation is painful, but it's purification. Every time you make an excuse, you choose temporary relief over long-term respect. You trade discipline for dopamine. The rush of justification feels good for a moment, but it leaves you emptier than before. You can't respect yourself while consistently betraying your own word. Excuses thrive in isolation. When you're alone, your mind becomes the perfect negotiator. It convinces you that tomorrow will be easier, that you'll start when things calm down. But tomorrow is just today in disguise. The only cure for excuse-making is immediate action. Excuses grow louder when goals grow bigger. The closer you get to purpose, the stronger resistance becomes. That's how you know you're on the right path. The mind panics because it senses change. The key isn't silence. It's discipline. Act despite the noise. You say you want success, but success demands sacrifice. Excuses exist to protect what you're unwilling to let go of. Comfort, laziness, validation. Until you trade those in, progress will stay theoretical. Freedom begins when excuses end. Every time you justify your delay, you reinforce weakness. The brain learns from repetition. It doesn't care if it's truth or excuse. Each "not now" teaches your mind to quit faster next time. You're not just losing time, you're training yourself to tolerate mediocrity. Excuses aren't born from lack of ability. They're born from lack of accountability. When you take ownership, the lies dissolve. You can't hide behind "I can't" once you say, "It's my responsibility." Accountability is brutal, but it's the birthplace of power. You'll notice that excuses usually sound polite. They wear the clothes of reason. I'm just being realistic. I have too much going on. It's not practical right now, but realism is often just disguised fear. The world's greatest changes were made by people who ignored realism completely. To break the cycle, you must get ruthless with your language. Stop saying, I don't have time. Say, it's not my priority. The truth will sting. That's how you know it's real. Honesty hurts before it heals. The words you use shape the limits you live within. Excuses are easy because they cost nothing now and everything later. The consequences are delayed and the comfort is immediate. That's the perfect trap. Pleasure up front, pain deferred. Success flips it. Pain first, peace later. Choose your suffering wisely. You've said, I'll start soon, so many times that soon became a graveyard of your intentions. There is no soon. There's only now or never. If you can't start small today, you won't start big tomorrow. Momentum doesn't arrive. It's created. Your mind will protect your excuses because they protect its comfort. It will fight back when you challenge them. That's why self-discipline feels like war. You're battling the parts of yourself that want to stay weak, but every act of defiance rewrites identity. You'll start noticing your excuses sound repetitive. Different words, same pattern. That's the first sign of awakening, awareness. You can't change what you won't admit. Once you see the loop, you can break it. Self-awareness is the first hammer that cracks denial. The cycle breaks the moment you act while still afraid. Waiting for courage is an excuse. Action is how courage is created. You don't build confidence by thinking about it. You build it by doing what your excuses told you to avoid. Excuses will scream louder when you begin. That's their last defense. The mind will throw everything at you: doubt, fatigue, perfectionism, fear of judgment. But remember, resistance grows strongest before it breaks. Push through the noise. Freedom waits behind it. Breaking the cycle means replacing excuses with evidence. Every small win rewires belief. Each time you follow through, you prove your mind wrong. That's how you rebuild trust with yourself. Through repeated contradiction of your own doubt. You can't outthink your excuses. You must outwork them. Motion kills lies faster than logic. The brain can argue forever, but action ends the debate instantly. You can't talk your way out of hesitation. You can only move through it. Excuses feed off emotion. The more tired, overwhelmed, or anxious you feel, the more convincing they become. That's why structure matters. Systems save you when willpower fails. Routine is the antidote to emotional excuses. Your excuses will sound noble at times. I'm doing this for my family. I need to rest. I'm protecting my peace. But peace built on avoidance isn't peace. It's procrastination in disguise. True peace comes from progress, not pause. Breaking the cycle means burning the backup plan. As long as there's a safety net, you'll fall into it. Commitment demands consequence. When failure isn't fatal, you stop fearing it. When excuses have nowhere to land, they die fast. Excuses are the enemy of self-respect. You can't lie to yourself every day and still like who you see in the mirror. Confidence isn't built from success. It's built from honesty. Admit your excuses and you reclaim your power. You'll realize that most excuses aren't about effort. They're about permission. You're waiting for someone to validate your start, but you don't need approval to begin. The world only celebrates what you finish, not what you fear. Every excuse you kill gives birth to a new layer of strength. The version of you who stops making excuses becomes unstoppable because there's nothing left to hide behind. Transparency creates velocity. When you stop lying to yourself, progress accelerates. The truth is, your mind doesn't want comfort, it wants clarity. Comfort is just a substitute for peace. When you start acting instead of avoiding, you'll feel lighter. Guilt disappears the moment movement begins. You don't need to destroy every excuse at once. You just need to defeat the next one. One honest decision can end years of avoidance. Excuses are fragile. They can't survive consistent action. When you stop making excuses, you stop wasting energy on justification. All that power returns to progress. You realize how much potential you had, buried under explanation. That's when you start building instead of bargaining. Breaking the cycle doesn't mean perfection. It means awareness. You'll still stumble, still delay, still falter, but you'll catch yourself faster. Excuses lose power when you recognize their voice. Awareness is freedom in disguise. And one day, the excuses that once controlled you will sound absurd. You'll laugh at how small they were compared to your strength. That's when you'll know the cycle is broken. Not because life got easier, but because you stopped negotiating with your limitations. Chapter 4. Build momentum, not motivation. Motivation is a spark. Momentum is a fire. Motivation fades the moment life hits back, but momentum keeps burning even when you're tired, angry, or uninspired. You can't build a life waiting for emotional highs. You build it by staying in motion long enough for discipline to take over. Momentum is what makes effort automatic. Most people waste their lives chasing motivation, treating it like fuel. But motivation is a mood, not a resource. It comes and goes with weather, sleep, and emotion. Momentum is built through repetition, through showing up on the days when you least feel like it. When motivation disappears, momentum drives you forward on muscle memory. You don't need inspiration to start. You need structure to continue. Motivation may get you out of bed, but only momentum keeps you building when no one's watching. Every repetition, every action, every boring, consistent day is a silent brick in your foundation. The world doesn't reward the inspired, it rewards the consistent. Motivation is emotion-driven. Momentum is evidence-driven. When you rely on motivation, you need to feel good to act. When you rely on momentum, you act first, then feel good later. Emotion follows execution. The trick is to move before you're ready and let action create its own motivation. Momentum doesn't demand speed. It demands consistency. You can move slowly and still outgrow those sprinting inconsistently. Because momentum compounds, each act of discipline stacks on the last. You start small, but over time, those small movements turn into unstoppable inertia. You'll realize that motivation is fragile. It disappears with failure, rejection, or fatigue. But momentum thrives on those same things. It feeds on movement itself. The more you move, the more your mind adjusts to progress. Soon, showing up becomes natural, not emotional, but habitual. Building momentum is about systems, not moods. Your system doesn't care how you feel. It's designed to operate even on bad days. That's the secret of high performers. They've replaced emotion with execution. Feelings fluctuate, frameworks don't. Motivation asks, "Do I feel like it?" Momentum says, "Do it anyway." The second voice wins every battle of growth. The disciplined self ignores negotiation and focuses on movement. Each small action you take while resisting excuses strengthens that voice. Momentum begins with one push, a single decision that sets direction. The first push is heavy because you're fighting inertia. But once it moves, every push gets easier. The hardest part isn't the grind, it's starting the grind. The mind loves comfort zones because they cost nothing now and everything later. Momentum costs energy up front, but pays peace later. The ones who thrive aren't more motivated, they're more willing to pay that upfront price every day. When you chase motivation, you depend on the world. You wait for the right playlist, the right quote, the right mood. But when you build momentum, you depend on yourself. Your progress no longer needs hype. It needs repetition. Momentum isn't about excitement, it's about endurance. Excitement fades, but rhythm remains. You don't need fireworks to stay consistent. You need quiet determination, the kind that shows up when the world sleeps. Momentum is peace disguised as persistence. Motivation burns fast. Momentum burns forever. The first is a sprint. The second is a marathon. The first excites. The second evolves. Choose the slow fire, the one that doesn't need permission to keep burning. The most dangerous lie is that motivation will come later. It won't. Waiting for motivation is like waiting for courage before jumping. Courage appears after you leap. Motivation appears after you act. Movement is the mother of emotion. Momentum is mechanical. You don't need belief, you need movement. Even when doubt whispers, "You can't," your actions can whisper back, "Watch me." That dialogue between movement and doubt becomes your growth soundtrack. Every time you act, you collect proof. Proof that you're capable. Proof that you can be consistent. Proof that your excuses were lies. Momentum thrives on proof. You don't need inspiration when you have evidence. Motivation is loud. It shouts. Momentum is quiet. It hums. You won't always feel excited while building it, but you'll always feel grounded. The excitement of progress fades. The pride of discipline remains. Momentum is spiritual. It's the alignment between body, mind, and purpose. When you stop waiting for permission and start living in motion, your energy shifts. You stop asking, "What if?" and start proving what is. You can't build momentum with random effort. It requires consistency, same time, same habit, same focus. That repetition carves neural grooves in your mind. Soon, the act becomes automatic. That's how momentum becomes identity. The mind resists at first. It hates structure because structure exposes weakness. But the more you follow your routine, the quieter resistance gets. You're not fighting laziness, you're rewiring the brain. Each repetition is new code replacing old comfort. Momentum doesn't come from big wins, it comes from small victories stacked daily. The gym session you didn't skip, the project you finished despite fatigue, the decision to stay focused when no one was watching. That's where greatness hides, in unglamorous repetition. Motivation is like firework energy, flashy but fleeting. Momentum is sunrise energy, slow, consistent, inevitable. The world wakes to the disciplined, not the distracted. You build momentum by keeping promises to yourself. Every time you follow through, you strengthen self-trust. Soon, your mind stops doubting and starts obeying. Confidence doesn't come from hype. It comes from evidence of consistency. Momentum kills overthinking. When you're in motion, there's no room for paralysis. The body acts while the brain catches up. That's why progress feels freeing. It replaces anxiety with rhythm. You don't fix your thoughts by thinking harder, you fix them by moving smarter. The secret to unstoppable people is simple. They lower the threshold for action. They don't wait for ideal conditions. They act fast, fail fast, adjust fast. Movement is feedback. Momentum grows through failure, not despite it. Motivation is emotional dependency. Momentum is emotional discipline. You train your mind to move, even when it screams no. That's freedom, not needing permission from your feelings to do what must be done. Momentum doesn't shout success, it whispers sustainability. It's not about the best day, it's about every day. You don't need extreme effort once, you need small effort daily. Consistency beats intensity. The more momentum you build, the less effort it takes. Progress becomes gravity. You wake up with direction already installed in your thoughts. The work doesn't get easier, you just get stronger. Momentum loves structure, but it's fed by emotion. You need both, rhythm for the body, reason for the soul. The combination turns work into worship. You stop chasing achievement and start living alignment. You'll learn that momentum protects you from doubt. When you're busy moving, you don't have time to spiral. Overthinking dies in motion. Fear fades when faced with facts, and momentum creates those facts daily. There will be days when progress feels invisible. That's when most quit. But those are the days that define trajectory. Every unseen effort accumulates beneath the surface until one day it erupts into visible success. That's the power of silent persistence. Momentum transforms identity. You stop saying, "I'm trying," and start saying, "I do." Effort becomes existence. You no longer chase the grind, you become it. The line between habit and personality blurs until success feels natural. The disciplined never waste time arguing with their emotions. They move. Action regulates feeling better than thought ever could. You don't wait for motivation to align with mood. You let movement align everything else. Momentum isn't built in bursts, it's built in streaks. The longer you sustain the streak, the more sacred it becomes. One missed day doesn't destroy progress, but protecting the streak strengthens pride. That's how self-respect compounds. You'll discover that momentum creates peace. The same mind that once panicked about what if now feels calm because it's occupied with what's next, busy with purpose, not noise. That's clarity, and it's earned through movement. Momentum is proof that you've matured. You stopped chasing emotion and started creating evidence. You understand now that effort isn't punishment, it's privilege. Every act of consistency is a love letter to your future self. And finally, when you stop waiting for motivation and start building momentum, you'll realize that success was never about energy, inspiration, or luck. It was about showing up. The power was never in how you felt. It was in how you moved when you didn't feel like it. Momentum makes you unstoppable. Chapter 5. Discipline, the engine of change. Discipline is the bridge between potential and reality. Everyone wants change, but few are willing to do what it takes to sustain it. Discipline is what turns dreams into structure, ideas into habits, chaos into order. It's not glamorous, it's not fun, it's commitment when comfort calls louder. Discipline is the engine that moves you when motivation dies. Without discipline, even the best intentions rot. You can be inspired, ambitious, and intelligent, but without structure, you'll circle the same failures dressed in new excuses. Discipline doesn't ask what you feel, it asks what you're building. Feelings change, structure doesn't. The disciplined person doesn't rely on moods, they rely on systems. While others wait for passion, they show up with precision. That's what separates the talkers from the builders. Motivation might get you started, but only discipline keeps you standing when inspiration leaves. You can't cheat consistency. You either do the work or you don't. There's no middle ground. Every skipped day is a statement, a quiet declaration that you chose comfort over progress. Discipline doesn't judge, but it always keeps score. Discipline is a language of respect, the way you prove to yourself that your goals matter. Every act of follow-through tells your mind, "I can trust me." That trust is sacred. It's what builds confidence from the inside out. Without it, you're just pretending to grow. Change is simple but not easy. The formula is clear. Do the work every day, even when you don't want to. That's it. No hacks, no secrets, no tricks. The world complicates what discipline simplifies. Show up, repeat, evolve. Discipline is not control, it's care. It's how you nurture your future by managing your present. The disciplined life looks rigid to the undisciplined, but it's actually freedom disguised as order. Chaos feels like freedom until it collapses. Structure feels restrictive until it sets you free. Every small act of discipline plants a seed of transformation. You won't see it grow immediately. That's what makes it powerful. Growth that happens slowly lasts longer. The ones who trust time more than shortcuts always win in the end. Discipline asks you to sacrifice your impulses, to trade temporary pleasure for permanent pride. Most people can't do that, not because they're weak, but because they've never tasted the peace that comes from self-control. Once you do, nothing else compares. Discipline isn't about perfection. It's about persistence. You'll fall, miss days, fail tasks, but you return anyway. Every comeback builds resilience. Consistency after failure matters more than streaks without struggle. The undisciplined chase motivation, the disciplined build momentum. One needs inspiration, the other needs repetition. The difference between wishing and becoming is consistency over time. That's why disciplined people appear unstoppable. Because they are. Discipline doesn't mean living without emotion. It means leading emotion. You still feel everything: fatigue, fear, frustration, but you move through it anyway. The disciplined don't escape feelings. They outgrow their control. Change isn't created by desire, it's sustained by discipline. Anyone can want transformation. Only a few can repeat the actions that make it real. Desire burns bright, discipline burns forever. It's the silent fire that turns ambition into legacy. Every morning you rise, you make a choice: repeat yesterday or rewrite it. Discipline chooses rewriting. It doesn't need to feel ready. It just needs to begin. You can't always control how you feel, but you can always control what you do. Discipline gives you power over time. While others drift, you direct. Every routine becomes a compass pointing toward your potential. The undisciplined drown in distraction. The disciplined sail through it with clarity. You won't always love the process, and that's okay. Discipline isn't about enjoyment. It's about evolution. You do it because you respect yourself too much to stay stagnant. Pleasure fades. Progress satisfies forever. Discipline is internal order in an external storm. The world will always throw chaos your way: emotion, pressure, distraction, but discipline is your anchor. It keeps you rooted when everything around you shakes. Most people quit because they confuse boredom with failure. They think if it's not exciting, it's not working. But discipline thrives in monotony. The boring days build the foundation of brilliance. Boredom is just consistency wearing plain clothes. Discipline doesn't demand perfection. It demands presence. The act of showing up, especially when no one's watching, changes everything. You can't lose if you refuse to disappear. When you build discipline, you stop needing external validation. You realize that applause doesn't sustain you, habits do. The quiet pride of keeping your word outlasts the noise of praise. Discipline gives you rhythm. You stop starting over because you never stop. The gaps disappear, the excuses shrink, and the pattern of progress becomes your new normal. Consistency isn't punishment. It's identity training. Change doesn't happen when you feel like it. It happens when you act like it. The disciplined don't wait for good moods. They create them through motion. Every action becomes a vote for who you want to become. Discipline is the art of gentle repetition. It's not aggression, it's alignment. You're sculpting your life with small, deliberate moves. One choice at a time, 1 hour at a time, until excellence becomes your baseline. The undisciplined believe freedom is doing what they want. The disciplined know freedom is doing what's right, especially when they don't want to. The first feels free and ends trapped. The second feels trapped and ends free. Your habits are holy. Every repetition is prayer, every routine an altar of purpose. Discipline turns ordinary acts into sacred rituals of transformation. The gym, the study desk, the morning alarm, all become temples where greatness is built. Discipline turns chaos into clarity. It simplifies decision-making because you no longer ask, "Should I?" You already know. The disciplined don't waste energy debating with weakness. They've already made peace with the price of progress. Every time you choose discipline, you shrink the distance between who you are and who you want to be. You stop waiting for change to find you and start becoming the change itself. Discipline isn't the path, it's the proof. Discipline forces maturity. It kills entitlement and replaces it with effort. You learn that results aren't rights, they're rewards. The world doesn't owe you transformation. It gives you the tools to earn it. You'll realize that structure is compassion. Chaos doesn't love you, it exhausts you. The mind craves order because order creates peace. Discipline isn't self-punishment, it's self-respect practiced daily. Every disciplined person was once undisciplined. The difference is they stopped believing their own excuses. They decided discomfort was cheaper than regret. Once you taste the stability of structure, you never crave chaos again. Discipline doesn't end struggle, it gives it purpose. You'll still face challenges, but now every obstacle sharpens skill. Pain without purpose breaks you. Pain with discipline builds you. The deeper your discipline, the quieter your mind. You no longer need motivation because movement has become medicine. The act itself heals the doubt that once paralyzed you. You'll start respecting time differently. You stop wasting hours on low-value habits because you finally understand that every minute matters. Discipline is gratitude measured in focus. Discipline makes you self-reliant. You stop waiting for others to hold you accountable because your standards have become your supervisor. You are now your own authority. And that's true power. Without discipline, potential turns poisonous. It eats at you quietly, reminding you of everything you could have been. But discipline redeems it, turns guilt into growth, potential into proof. You'll find peace in repetition. What once felt like grind now feels like grounding. The daily acts that once drained you begin to define you. You're no longer chasing improvement. You're living inside it. And finally, discipline doesn't just change your habits, it changes your identity. You become the person you once admired, the one who doesn't wait for energy, motivation, or miracles, the one who moves always because movement itself became your love language. That's discipline, the true engine of change. Discipline begins where the noise ends. Once you've practiced it long enough, you stop chasing intensity and start mastering consistency. The highs and lows flatten into rhythm. You no longer crave chaos for excitement because calm has become powerful. Discipline quiets the drama you once confused for passion. The deeper you go, the more you realize discipline is a form of love, not control, not fear. You care enough about your life to lead it consciously. You treat your time like sacred ground, your habits like prayer. Every action becomes a declaration, I will not abandon myself again. True discipline isn't cold, it's compassionate. It forgives the slip but forbids surrender. It lets you fall but never allows you to stay down. The point isn't perfection, it's return. Returning again and again until showing up becomes breathing. As discipline matures, desire transforms. You stop wanting easy things. You crave depth, mastery, endurance. Pleasure changes flavor. Quick rewards lose their sweetness. You begin to love the taste of earned peace, the kind that only shows up after effort. Discipline reshapes how you think. The reactive mind becomes strategic. You stop asking, do I feel like it? And start asking, will this move me closer to who I want to be? That one question filters every decision. The clutter of confusion clears, direction replaces emotion. Your energy multiplies when guided by discipline. Indecision is exhaustion disguised as freedom. Once you decide and commit, you conserve power. No more scattered thoughts, no more internal debate, only execution. Focus becomes the new fuel. Discipline is emotional alchemy. It turns frustration into fuel, fear into focus, pain into patience. You don't escape emotions anymore. You channel them. What used to derail you now drives you. That's mastery, using everything as momentum. The disciplined mind respects boredom. You understand that repetition isn't dull, it's divine. Each repeated act sharpens the edge a little more. The dullness you feel is the ego resisting evolution. Stay with it. Boredom is the doorway to brilliance. You'll start to see discipline as elegance, precision without drama. Every move deliberate, every decision simple. There's beauty in living without clutter, without chaos, without emotional waste. You're no longer surviving life, you're sculpting it. Discipline refines your relationship with time. You stop sprinting through hours chasing productivity highs. You pace yourself like a craftsman. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Progress becomes less about speed and more about direction. The further you go, the more invisible discipline becomes. Outsiders think it's natural talent. They don't see the countless quiet choices that built your calm. But that's fine. The disciplined never need to explain. They let the results narrate their effort. Discipline is how you earn trust from the universe. You stop asking for miracles and start proving readiness. Once your actions align with intention, opportunities begin to arrive faster. Life doesn't resist you, it responds to your rhythm. You'll realize that discipline simplifies success. Complexity is what undisciplined minds create to avoid responsibility. Structure kills overthinking. The more predictable your process, the more extraordinary your outcome. Discipline protects you from yourself. It guards against impulsive decisions born of emotion. It keeps your words steady when your feelings waver. Self-control isn't about restriction, it's about preservation. Your peace becomes proportional to your discipline. The more orderly your life, the quieter your mind. Chaos outside can't shake you because you've built order within. You stop reacting to storms because you've become the stillness at their center. Discipline teaches respect for failure. You stop dramatizing mistakes and start dissecting them. Failure becomes feedback, not identity. Each setback is data for refinement. Discipline makes you curious where you used to be crushed. As you evolve, you'll notice discipline and faith begin to merge. Discipline is faith in action, faith that repetition will bear fruit even when you can't see results. You move forward not because you're sure, but because you're committed. Discipline also demands boundaries. You can't control your focus while living in chaos. You start saying no more often to distractions, to draining people, to empty obligations. Boundaries aren't walls, they're gates that protect your purpose. The disciplined self is generous but guarded. You give your best effort freely, but your time selectively. Every yes now carries weight because you understand its cost. Saying no becomes an act of wisdom, not guilt. Discipline sharpens gratitude. When you've earned your peace, you appreciate it differently. You no longer take calm mornings or focused hours for granted. Every disciplined day feels like grace, not punishment. There's a sacred rhythm in repetition. You begin to see art in the ordinary, the way you make your bed, write your notes, speak your goals aloud. Discipline isn't dull routine, it's meditation through motion. The disciplined path will isolate you, not because people leave, because you outgrow conversations about nothing. You start valuing silence, solitude, substance. Your social circle shrinks, but your depth expands. You'll notice that consistency becomes your confidence. You no longer hype yourself with words. Your track record speaks louder. That quiet certainty intimidates chaos and attracts clarity. Discipline teaches patience. Quick results no longer impress you. You've seen how real growth takes time, how the slow path compounds while shortcuts collapse. Patience becomes strength disguised as stillness. When discipline governs your life, even rest becomes intentional. You rest to recover, not to escape. Rest isn't laziness, it's strategy. The disciplined don't burn out, they refuel with purpose. The more disciplined you become, the easier choices get. There's no debate, no delay. The hard thing becomes the default. You've trained your instincts to choose growth over comfort automatically. Discipline isn't a punishment for the weak. It's a privilege of the strong. It's how you prove you deserve the life you claim to want. The undisciplined talk about freedom, the disciplined live it. There's a humility that comes from discipline. You realize you're not special, you're simply consistent. You stop idolizing talent and start respecting endurance. Ordinary effort repeated daily becomes extraordinary over time. Discipline makes you emotionally independent. You stop relying on external validation to feel worthy. The pride of follow-through replaces the hunger for approval. You've learned the rare art of being quietly proud. Eventually, your standards rise so high that mediocrity feels painful. You no longer tolerate what you once celebrated. That's not arrogance, that's alignment. Growth makes old habits unbearable. Discipline also teaches compassion. You stop judging those still struggling because you remember what chaos felt like. Instead of arrogance, you offer example. Your life becomes silent proof that discipline works. You'll discover that discipline creates beauty. There's harmony in structure, grace in focus, serenity in order. The world calls it rigidity. You call it rhythm. This is what peace looks like when it's earned. The deeper your discipline, the stronger your intuition. Structure clears noise, allowing your instincts to speak. The disciplined don't suppress intuition. They refine it through routine. Clarity reveals direction faster when distraction is gone. Discipline is devotion to becoming. You no longer work for achievement alone. You work because the act itself fulfills you. Process replaces outcome. Every disciplined day is victory, regardless of result. The undisciplined crave variety, the disciplined crave mastery. You stop chasing new things and start deepening old ones. Mastery requires monotony, and you've learned to love its rhythm. Your environment begins to mirror your mind. Clean spaces, focused conversations, purposeful actions. Everything reflects your inner order. Discipline doesn't just change you, it transforms what surrounds you. And one day you'll wake up realizing you no longer need to try to be disciplined, you simply are. It's not a habit anymore, it's your nature. You've become structure in motion, peace in pursuit, precision in practice. That's discipline fulfilled, the quiet power that fuels unstoppable change. Chapter 6. Take control of time. Take control of life. Time is the most ruthless currency. It only moves forward, never refunds, never negotiates. You can borrow money, rebuild strength, mend relationships, but you can never recover a wasted hour. Every minute that passes becomes permanent history. Once you understand that, your life changes. Control begins with awareness. You don't lose time all at once. You lose it in fragments. A scroll here, a distraction there, a conversation that leads nowhere. Minutes slip away silently until years are gone. The first step to mastering time is realizing how quietly it disappears. People say they don't have time, but what they mean is they don't have focus. You'll always have time for what you prioritize. The problem isn't lack of hours, it's lack of intention. Until you master your attention, time will keep mastering you. Time is not the enemy, ignorance is. The unaware drift through days as if they're infinite, living reactively instead of deliberately. They mistake motion for progress, activity for productivity. Controlling time means learning the difference. Your relationship with time defines your destiny. The careless spend it. The disciplined invest it. Every choice you make is an exchange, trading hours for outcomes, seconds for satisfaction. The wise calculate before they spend. When you take control of time, you take control of emotion. Most anxiety comes from feeling behind. Time mastery replaces panic with presence. You stop racing and start directing. You're no longer chasing the clock. You're conducting it. You'll notice that the world is designed to steal your time. Notifications, gossip, endless entertainment, all engineered to hijack your focus. You must defend your hours like treasure, because that's what they are. Invisible wealth disguised as minutes. The disciplined build their life around time. The distracted build time around their life. The difference is direction. One controls the flow, the other drowns in it. Time management isn't about doing more, it's about doing what matters most. The truth is, time doesn't pass. You do. The clock doesn't move faster. Your awareness moves slower. Life shortens, not because years vanish, but because you stop paying attention to them. Taking control means reclaiming consciousness in every moment. You can't manage time without managing energy. Every hour isn't equal. Some are gold, some are dust. The wise schedule their hardest work for their strongest hours. The rest of the world burns prime energy, scrolling through meaninglessness. Time freedom isn't doing whatever you want. It's doing what aligns with your purpose. Chaos feels free, but it drains you. Structure feels strict, but it liberates you. When your hours serve your vision, your days begin to feel sacred. Mastering time is mastering boundaries. You stop giving pieces of your day to people who waste them. You start saying no, not because you're selfish, but because you finally respect your own direction. Guard your focus like your future depends on it, because it does. Every second of your life is a vote for growth or decay. You can't reclaim the past, but you can redeem the next minute. The moment you take ownership of your schedule, regret loses power. Time becomes tool, not torment. The clock is neutral. It doesn't care who wins. The same 24 hours that build empires also build excuses. The difference lies in choice, not chance. Discipline turns time into opportunity. Laziness turns it into loss. Most people think they need more time. What they really need is more courage. Courage to start, to focus, to eliminate distractions. Time isn't scarce. Clarity is. Once you know what matters, you'll find hours hiding in plain sight. Taking control of time means learning to stop multitasking. Splitting focus fractures progress. The mind was made to move with depth, not scatter across noise. The more you simplify, the faster you evolve. You must learn to see time as seasons, not seconds. There's a time to build, a time to rest, a time to sow, a time to reap. Misusing one season ruins the next. Discipline means honoring the rhythm without rushing the reward. You can't respect time until you respect stillness. Rest isn't wasting hours, it's recharging them. Without recovery, productivity collapses. The disciplined rest with purpose, to come back sharper, not softer. Every minute wasted on resentment, comparison, or regret is time stolen from creation. The clock doesn't pause for emotional clutter. Let go faster, heal quicker. Don't give yesterday more time than it already took. Taking control of time also means confronting your habits. You can't expect new results with old routines. Audit your days. Ask yourself where your hours actually go. You'll be shocked at how much of your life you give away unconsciously. Time reveals truth. It exposes what you value most. You can say you care about growth, but your schedule shows if that's real. Your hours don't lie, they mirror your priorities. Look at how you spend them, and you'll see what you truly worship. The disciplined understand that time expands through focus. A single hour of deep work can equal 10 hours of distraction. The mind, when locked in, bends time. Master your focus, and you'll feel like you have more hours than the world. Distraction is the modern disease. People crave stimulation because silence feels like confrontation, but time mastery requires solitude, moments where your thoughts sharpen without noise. Silence is where direction is born. You'll start realizing that every "I don't have time" really means it's not important enough. Once you stop lying to yourself, clarity arrives. Time doesn't discriminate. It exposes your honesty. Control over time begins with routine. Mornings define momentum. Start them with precision, and the day bends to your will. Drift through them carelessly, and the day owns you. How you treat the first hour decides the tone of the next 23. Time discipline isn't rigid. It's rhythmic. You learn to flow with balance, not force. Overworking breaks you as much as idleness does. The goal isn't constant movement, it's controlled motion. When you stop fearing time, you stop rushing it. Patience becomes power. You no longer chase instant results because you understand that consistency compounds. The one who respects time never needs to race it. The greatest regret people have is not what they did, it's what they didn't do. Time doesn't forgive hesitation. The hours you waste doubting are the same hours someone else uses to build. Taking control of time means accepting mortality. The clock is the reminder that life is temporary, but that's not depressing. It's liberating. When you understand that everything ends, you finally begin living intentionally. Time is your greatest teacher. It rewards what you respect and punishes what you neglect. It doesn't care about excuses or emotions. It honors consistency. Every disciplined day earns its blessing from time itself. You'll see that wealth is measured in hours, not currency. The rich aren't those with money. They're the ones who control their days. If you own your schedule, you own your destiny. Taking control of time requires cutting emotional clutter. You can't move forward carrying the weight of everything. Forgive faster, detach quicker, simplify constantly. The lighter you travel, the more time you save. Each moment you master adds up to a lifetime of peace. The ones who live deliberately never feel rushed because they've aligned purpose with pace. They know that meaning doesn't come from how long life lasts, but how deeply it's lived. Time will always move. That's its nature. The choice is whether it moves through you or because of you. Be the one steering, not drifting. Direction, not duration, defines legacy. When you take control of time, you stop chasing balance and start creating harmony. Every moment becomes intentional, every choice connected. Life feels less like survival and more like art. Eventually you'll realize that controlling time is really about controlling presence. It's about being fully alive in every second instead of sleepwalking through them. The undisciplined exist in time, the awakened live in it. And one day you'll look back and realize you didn't just manage time, you mastered it. You didn't let it slip, you sculpted it. You didn't chase the future, you created it. And in doing so, you didn't just take control of time, you finally took control of life. Mastering time sharpens your perception. You begin to see the truth, that most people aren't busy, they're distracted. They fill their days with noise to avoid the silence of self-confrontation. But silence is where clarity lives, and clarity is what turns hours into progress. Once you gain control of time, you stop glorifying urgency. The constant rush that once defined you feels childish now. True maturity isn't moving faster, it's moving with purpose. Every decision slows down, not from hesitation, but from precision. You learn to protect your mornings like sacred ground. The first hour decides the next 10. Those who waste their mornings in chaos spend their nights in regret. Peace isn't found in the evening. It's built at sunrise through discipline and ritual. Time mastery demands honesty. You can't fix what you won't face. The calendar doesn't lie. It reflects your truth with cruel accuracy. Every blocked hour or wasted minute tells the story of what you truly prioritize, not what you pretend to. The wise stop chasing balance and start designing rhythm. Balance is fragile, rhythm endures. Some days demand intensity, others require stillness. Knowing which is how you stay productive without losing peace. Once you start directing time, you realize how rare focus is. Most of the world has forgotten how to give undivided attention, but deep focus is power in a distracted age. The one who masters it can accomplish in a day what others can't in weeks. You'll feel resistance when you begin managing time seriously. The old you, impulsive, scattered, reactive, will fight back. But that tension is proof you're evolving. Growth always offends the version of yourself built on convenience. Taking control of time also means taking control of endings. Learn to finish what you start. Half-done projects, unresolved goals, lingering distractions, they're silent thieves of mental bandwidth. Completion creates capacity. Time is the mirror of discipline. If your days feel chaotic, your structure is weak. The stronger your systems, the calmer your life. Freedom doesn't come from having more time. It comes from giving each moment a clear purpose. You'll find beauty in routine once you understand it's not repetition, it's refinement. The same actions done with awareness deepen skill, strengthen identity, and erase hesitation. Routine isn't monotony, it's mastery in motion. The undisciplined waste time running from discomfort. The disciplined use discomfort as a compass. What you resist most often reveals what you need most. Every hard task avoided is a door to growth left unopened. When you begin mastering time, your relationship with urgency transforms. You stop chasing deadlines created by others and start building momentum around your own goals. Control means deciding what deserves your pace. The deeper your time discipline, the less tolerance you have for triviality. You stop over-explaining, over-committing, over-indulging. Your no becomes firm, not rude. You realize every wasted conversation steals energy you could have invested in creation. Time management isn't about squeezing more into your day. It's about removing what doesn't belong. Subtraction creates space for excellence. Simplify until only significance remains. Every second spent in clarity creates compounding peace. Chaos multiplies when you don't track where your minutes go. But when your actions align with intention, every hour feels earned. That's fulfillment. Peace earned through precision. You start understanding that time is emotional, not mechanical. Minutes feel long or short based on meaning. A single hour of deep purpose stretches infinitely, while years of avoidance vanish without memory. Presence expands time. Those who waste time fear silence. Those who master it crave it. Silence slows perception, allowing insight to surface. The busiest minds miss the whispers of wisdom that only stillness can amplify. Once you've built a rhythm with time, your energy feels different. You no longer chase motivation. Your structure creates momentum automatically. Your life runs like a well-tuned machine powered by purpose. Time mastery kills procrastination because procrastination thrives on vagueness. When your tasks are clear and scheduled, avoidance has nowhere to hide. Structure exposes laziness for what it is. fear dressed as fatigue. You stop confusing productivity with progress. Filling time isn't the same as fulfilling purpose. The goal isn't to do more, it's to do what matters deeply and deliberately. Meaning makes minutes valuable. When you truly value time, you stop arguing with reality. You stop saying, "I wish I had more hours," and start optimizing the ones you already have. Acceptance is power, and power creates efficiency. You'll see that success isn't about time spent, but attention invested. Two people can work for 8 hours. One ends fulfilled, the other ends frustrated. The difference isn't duration, it's direction. Time control creates emotional control. When your day has structure, your mind has space. Anxiety shrinks when chaos does. Overwhelm fades when order rises. Time isn't therapy, but discipline heals disorder. You start living in segments, not streaks. Each day becomes a self-contained masterpiece, a closed loop of effort and rest. The past no longer spills into the present. The future no longer poisons now. That's mastery, containment of focus. The disciplined view of time is humble. You realize you're just a steward, not an owner. Every breath borrowed, every sunrise rented. Gratitude replaces entitlement. You stop wasting time because you finally feel its holiness. Managing time teaches you emotional detachment. You stop chasing everything that screams for attention. You choose silence over validation, solitude over noise. Time used wisely is peace disguised as progress. You'll begin noticing that most urgency is artificial. The world tries to make everything immediate, but your strength lies in discernment, knowing what truly requires speed and what simply demands patience. You stop multitasking your emotions. When it's time to work, you work. When it's time to rest, you rest. Fragmentation fades. Time doesn't just stretch, it stabilizes. Presence becomes your equilibrium. Taking control of time also means forgiving the past. You can't control yesterday's minutes, but you can redeem today's. Guilt wastes more hours than distraction ever could. Forgiveness restores focus. Once you master time, you stop comparing timelines. Everyone's pace is different because everyone's path is different. You understand that being early or late is irrelevant, only being aligned matters. Time teaches humility through decay. You realize that everything fades: beauty, fame, comfort. The only thing that remains is how you used your time to evolve. That's legacy, not what you owned, but what you built. Control of time means control of thought. Idle hours breed doubt. Structured hours breed progress. You don't eliminate fear, you outpace it through forward motion. Activity creates clarity faster than analysis ever could. You'll begin to crave slowness. The same silence you once feared now feels sacred. You stop running to the next task because you've learned that quality grows in stillness, not speed. The mature mind uses time to design peace. The immature mind uses time to chase pleasure. The difference defines destiny. Peace compounds, pleasure expires. Choose your currency wisely. And eventually you'll realize that controlling time isn't about dominance, it's about devotion. You devote your minutes to what matters, your focus to what fulfills, your energy to what endures. You no longer live in time. Time lives in you. That's when you truly take control of life. When every moment serves meaning, every breath carries purpose, and every day feels like a masterpiece sculpted by discipline itself. If you're still waiting for the right moment to change your life, this is it. The right moment isn't coming tomorrow, it's happening now. Every second you hesitate, life moves on without you. Every excuse steals a piece of the future you could be building today. The truth is, no one's going to hand you your dream life. You build it through focus, through action, through consistency. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to start. Start where you are. Start with what you have. Because the smallest step today will always be more powerful than the biggest plan you never take. Stop chasing motivation. Stop waiting for signs. The time you have now, this hour, this moment, is the same time every successful person once started with. The difference is they used it. So take control, build discipline, take ownership of your story, because your future doesn't belong to luck. It belongs to the version of you that refuses to waste another second.